Well, good morning, everybody. It is 9 a.m. I'm Sherry Richards. I'm the staff liaison for the Professionalism Committee. So we have Mike Bisping with us. He has been with the North Star MLS for 15 years. He has served as director of the help desk and of the Rules Compliance Department. I am so sorry, Mike.
For what?
He currently serves as the chief financial officer. Is it the chief financial officer or the chief?
No, it's chief operating officer.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. You just got a promotion, didn't you?
I did. Thank you. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I am out of rules now officially. So
yay.
All of 2.5 weeks.
With that being said, I'm going to turn this over to you so you can share your information with us.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Let me share my screen. I'm already starting without sharing. Good morning. Does that look good? So I have been with North Star MLS for 15 years now. Like she already said, both the help desk and then rules and regulations and now chief operating officer. But both of those departments are still under me. So I do know a little bit about it. So I thought I'd give you a brief overview first of what happened last quarter and then maybe what's coming soon to just give you sort of an advanced look. The first thing is I do for our board of directors a quarterly support services report, which includes the work of both the help desk and the rules and regulations department to let them know what's going on from the staff perspective on the MLS. So this update is from the third quarter, because we're in the fourth quarter right now. And this looks at call volume that comes to the help desk. So even though we have about 22,000 subscribers and 33,000 listings that quarter, we got about 8,400 phone calls. Which is an increase over 2021, but you'll see slightly less than 2022. And often that has to do with how many updates are done during that time or how many systems have issues. Greatly affects volume. So my two departments are 5 people answering the phones. They get about over 600 phone calls and emails a week from you. And then the rules department, which are 2 administrators looking at 500 rule violations a week. We have some really great software that helps them to be able to accomplish that sort of high volume rules review. And it includes both an automatic review. For example, they look for like fair housing words. They look for the word non-compliant to see if somebody's listing a bedroom that's non-compliant. But I think one of the things that is one of our best success stories is that our average wait time last quarter, if somebody called the help desk, was 8 seconds. And the reason I think that one is so important and we sort of managed that one is I try to get people who can do their job well and can do it with a smile. But I also think it's a huge advantage because if somebody's calling, they're usually in the middle of a problem, if they can get somebody on the phone right away. So that's one of our goals there is to, if you call the North Star MLS help desk, that you can get someone pretty quickly. So what are people calling the help desk about? So we logged about 5,400 calls and emails just to the help desk last quarter. The top 5 calls, most of them have to do with ad edit. The first one would be help editing a listing. They don't know what goes in a field or what they need to change or why there's an error to their listing. Number 2 is membership calls that we have to refer back to the board, like to the St. Paul Association of Realtors, either just to update anything in the roster, like an email address, or I need to pay my membership dues. Number 3 is help adding a photo. Number 4 is help edit or adding a new listing. A lot of times auto pop or finding a parcel ID, stuff like that to get the new listing added. And then the last is help with a search in matrix. But with each of those calls, we send out a survey when they close the call. And it really just asks, are you satisfied with your call? But we're at about a 98.8% people that are satisfied, which is, 1,100 of the 1,124 calls were satisfied, but we read every single one of those comments. So if anybody puts any comments in there about a product or a service, they get sort of filtered up the staff here. So they go from the person who took the call to the supervisor there to me, and then ultimately sometimes to the board of directors, depending on the comment. Feel free to stop me at any time too, if anyone wants to raise their hand or anything, I'll try to notice that. In the rules department, our goal is to keep the MLS data that you're using up to date and accurate. So we sent 4,800 rule violations last quarter of those 33,000 listings, but 98% of them involved no fine or a fine that we waived. And that pie there you can see demonstrates what types of violations we are sent. That hugest slice of the pie, over half of it, is a reminder that, hey, your pending listing you said it was going to close last week and it's still sitting there pending. please either update your projected close date or close the listing. And about 60% of those end up getting closed. So it was really a listing that closed that somebody forgot to close on the MLS. So that's by far the biggest pie. The second biggest is the incorrect listing information. And my next slide will detail what that really means. But the third one is for branded virtual tours. The fourth is for late listing entry. So you have 2 business days from when a contract starts to enter it on the MLS, make it available to other agents. So it's when somebody sits on it for more than 2 days, that's those fines. And the last is for a missing photo. Somebody who forgot to photo. You have 2 business days from the time the listing goes in to then add a photo. So it's really when somebody just forgets. And especially in the market that was ending last quarter where things were selling pretty quickly, that's when people were forgetting to put photos on. But that incorrect listing information is where we spend the majority of our time. So this is sort of a breakdown of the top 5 things of what was in that one slice of pie about incorrect listing information. The number one is non-conforming bedrooms counted as bedrooms. And the only reason I think this one's funny is because we've never had this in the top 5 before, but we searched for the word non-conforming. And then we found one that got reported to us where somebody misspelled the word conforming. So we said, oh, let's just search for CONF and see if it finds more. So the only reason it found 150 non-conforming bedrooms was because those were the agents who had misspelled the word conforming. So once we adjusted the software to search for both the correctly spelled and the incorrectly spelled conforming, then we found a lot more listings that they counted a 4-bedroom and then put in the remarks, the 4th bedroom is non-conforming. So that's why that is number 1 on last quarter. Number 2 was style or stories field incorrect. A lot of times 1.5 stories was counted as a 2-story, or a detached townhome was counted as a single family home. That happens a lot. So that's what falls into there. Number 3 almost always comes from appraisers after the fact, but it's finished square footage that's incorrect. So it might be the appraiser who looks at it and says, that's not right. And oftentimes it's agents putting below ground square footage in the above ground field. A lot of times because there's a walkout basement, they might think it's above ground square footage, but we measure the ground level as the front door. So a walkout basement is still below ground square footage. The number 4 is the foundation size incorrect. We find a lot of those automatically because a lot of people put in 1, or I think we search and send notices on anything less than, I forget the number, 100 or 250, maybe something like that. So that would automatically generate a notice to say, hey, that's probably not a correct foundation size. And the last is status not updated. So that's usually somebody notifying us to say, hey, they told me they have an accepted offer on this, but they did not disclose it on MLS. That's almost all 104 are probably that. We do have a category called serious violations. So these are, I think there are 6 things now on the list that the MLS rules considers a serious violation. So we sent out 10 of those last quarter, and here's what they were for. 7 of them were for violating our clear cooperation policy, which is advertising a listing within withheld status. So this is a fairly new rule. It's like 1.5 years, and it was a national directive. So it was not a rule we wrote or chose. But the National Association of Realtors said, if you're withholding a listing or calling it a private listing in some markets, you can't then publicly advertise it if it's private. So even putting up a yard sign on a withheld listing is against NAR's clear cooperation policy. So once you put up the yard sign, you have 1 business day to enter it in the MLS and make it available to all the agents. Then 2 of them were for unauthorized access of a listed property. If I remember correctly, one of those was it was a vacant property, so the agent thought it was okay to just go in. And the other, I'm pretty sure, was somebody who just went at the wrong time. So the homeowner was home and not happy. And then the last one was advertising an agent belonging to another broker, probably posting it on social media. That's usually where that happens. Let me look at my list, because I think I do. The other serious violations that aren't on there today, but they do happen once in a while, like entering a listing without a listing contract. So once a year, some homeowner will call and say, my house is listed on the MLS and I did not sign a listing contract. So then we contact the list agent, and if there's no contract, that's a serious violation. And then showing a property in coming soon status is a serious violation. A hard one to prove, but we have in other quarters done several of those. And that's it. Those are the serious types of violations. So that's sort of an overview of what happened in the help desk in the rules department. Does anyone have any questions or comments about how that works. We really try to take an educational approach and not fine. And the Rules Committee spends a lot of time sort of focusing on how to best get the results we want without having to fine people. I think overall we're successful. There certainly are, especially with newer agents. A lot of these are newer agents, especially the non-conforming bedroom things that come in. Anything? Any questions?
I'm not seeing any questions in chat.
Awesome.
And I'm not seeing any questions here in person.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I do have a couple other things I'll tell you about there. Then I'll go into my coming soon part. And then this will be a really fast presentation. So the National Association of Realtors has directed across the country, they've told every MLS that they want listing attribution. I'm going to try really hard not to make this complicated. Listing attribution on broker websites to include contact information for the listing broker. So right now, if you were to go to my Acme Broker website and see your listing, way down in the small print, you would say listing provided by you. That's the requirement right now. They want to change the requirement to listing provided by, I should have done it the other way so it's more clear, if it's mine. Listing provided by Mike Bisping Realty, and then a field to give contact information. And they want the broker to be able to choose how they want that contact information to show. So what that means is, I know this is confusing. I'm sorry I said that poorly. What that means is there's a new field going to be in the roster, and only the head broker can find it. But what it's going to say is, how would you like on IDX broker reciprocity websites, how would you like your office contact information to show for listings? And there's going to be 4 choices. You can only pick one, but you're either going to want your office phone number there, your office email there, the listing agent's phone number, or the listing agent's email. So there's 4 choices. You can only pick one. And this is going to come, the system will be set up December 13th, but I think we might wait till early January to announce it, because we find that nobody pays any attention when you announce it near the holidays. But what that ends up looking like, I just pulled this off. There are a lot of markets that have already implemented it. So I just pulled this off. I think I pulled it off Redfin because it was just easy to find. And I knew that Carolina has already done it, North Carolina. So this is what it looks like. So the first one says listed by agent name, agent office, and contact the agent email. So that's how it looks, because the broker chose give the contact information to the agent and the agent's email. If they had chosen agent's phone number, it would say Ali Stevens, Dickens, Mitchell and Associates, and then contact, and then the agent's phone number. And then the second example there was a good example of them choosing the phone number. So if they had not chosen agent and they had just chosen office, you would just see the office name there and then the office phone number or the office email. And it'll come from whatever you set up in the roster as the primary email or phone number, either for the office or the agent, depending which you pick. So I will put it in perspective, though, because quite a few big markets have already launched it and they've seen very little traction or interest in it. So NAR thought it would be a game changer, but I'm not hearing from anybody that they think it's made a huge impact, but it will be available to you. There is some concern that putting your email out or anybody's email out on the internet exposes you to a lot more spam. That's certainly true for me because I'm listed as the rules person, and I get a tremendous amount of spam every day. So there is a danger in that, but also hopefully some more leads would go back to the listing office when it's on other broker and agent websites. But I don't know. To me personally, the branding of whatever broker's website you're on is much bigger and more prominent than this is going to be in the small print at the end of the listing. But it does provide a little bit of transparency, which is something MLS really is one of our goals, right? Is to provide real estate transparency. So that's good. So it'll be available in January, and who knows, maybe it will make a big impact in this market, but it is not in other markets. Any questions on that one?
Mike, this is Sherry. I have a question on
Hi.
that. You said that there's 4 choices.
Yes.
If the head broker does not make a choice for this, what is the default that will happen?
The default is nothing. So if you do nothing, it will look exactly as it looks today. And we chose that so that we weren't making a choice for the broker and they wouldn't notice any change in how their listing appears currently on other people's websites. So as of today, it says listing provided by Acme Real Estate, and it will stay looking just like that if you don't choose a different option. Anything else?
I have a question.
Okay.
Patty Jo Fitzpatrick with Coldwell Banker.
Okay, Joe.
Who's going to take over for you on the rules and regs
Well,
or the complaints or whatever?
I have hired someone. Her name is Trisha, and she comes from we got her from another MLS who does not belong to North Star. So she was the rules person for the Northwest Wisconsin Association of Realtors. She came highly recommended, and I think she's fantastic. So I haven't really announced that yet, but we do have the person selected.
Good. I'm happy that she's got experience with real estate
Yes.
and agents and their complaints.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Me too. One of my favorite hires ever was for the help desk. I did not hire away from a real estate office, but she had just left a real estate office as the office manager. And I thought the value she brought to the other help desk technicians to be able to explain how it works in the real estate office was tremendous. So I feel like I learned a lesson there. And she's still with us. She's fantastic. Two other quick things I'll just mention. We have a new CEO of a month ago. His name is Tim Dane. He managed both the St. Louis City MLS and the Austin, Texas City MLS. So far, I really like him a lot. One of the first things he's done is he launched this survey, which you hopefully have seen in your email box. It's a national survey, not done by us, but done by an outside consulting company. And this, because they've done it on almost 100 MLSs across the country, they're able to benchmark what people think about North Star with what agents think about their MLS in other markets, which they say is a really strong indicator of satisfaction, more so than what we were doing, which was just saying, are you satisfied, basically, and giving us comments. So if you see that, and it takes about 10 minutes. It's more in depth than we usually send out. So probably the response rate will be fairly low. But if you have time to encourage people to take that, I think it will have a real impact, especially now because our new CEO is trying to decide what his priorities are in which products to develop and which direction to go. And it could change completely from where we are now. Who knows? I doubt it, but we still have the board of directors he reports to. So that provides some continuity. One of the other things we're launching, you'll see in a soft launch in December, a hard launch in January, is a new MLS app. Please don't roll your eyes, but here's the deal. It's called MLS Touch, and it is the highest rated MLS app by agents using it across the country. So that's part of the reason we chose to go with it. It's fully integrated with Matrix so that contacts and saved searches are reciprocal. So if you entered in one, you'll see it in both the app and in Matrix. So they work closely with Matrix. It's not technically owned by Matrix, but they work together. And the ratings are really high and it looks really good. Part of the challenge we've had is our survey results have always rated apps the worst. Like so many of our comments have been, you need to focus more on mobile. We use it mobilely and you need a better mobile app. We offer 3 right now: Home Snap, Home Spotter, and Remine. We have no plans to sunset any of those, but it's always a possibility because none of them are as highly rated as we would like, and none of them are as widely adapted as we would like. But there are no plans to sunset. I don't want to panic anybody. There's no plans to get rid of any of those, but we really would like to find an app that people really love. And Home Snap and Home Spotter have some huge, strong fan base. They're both fans think one is great and the other one's bad. We hear that a lot. So, but I'm really optimistic that this phone app will make more people happy, and partly because it's well integrated with Matrix and they designed to make it look like Matrix. So that's really nice because people like what they're used to. So it'll feel like you're on a mobile version of Matrix, which I think will be much better. We are one of only, I think, 3 MLSs across the country that offers MLS front end of choice, which means you could choose to use Matrix or Flex MLS or Paragon MLS, which are the 3 biggest MLS front end softwares across the country. And we did that not because we have a huge number of people wanting to use a different one, but it's really helped us with mergers. So Bemidji has joined, as in a couple of weeks, we'll have officially joined North Star MLS. Fergus Falls joined North Star MLS, and the one that dissolved, now it's out of my head, Lakes Region, wherever that was, I'm just forgetting, but they dissolved. But they joined partly because they could continue using their system they liked, like Flex MLS, but still use Ad Edit, our back end. And the reason we were able to be one of the first to do that is because we own that. Ad Edit is North Star MLS's software. We wrote it and developed it so that any front end could work off the front of it. And hopefully it helps us with more mergers, because we are in deep negotiations with Fargo Moorhead. So I think that that's going to happen early next year. So then we're really only anywhere across the state, you can access all their listings right now, except for the Mankato MLS and the Duluth area MLS. So we continue to do outreach to them and try to find some way to share or partner. And with the new CEO, I'm optimistic that we'll try again, at least to do some sort of share so that you can access every listing in the entire state within your MLS system. Is there anything else I want to tell you about? I think that's it. I did mention the Bemidji's joining. That's great. So that only leaves those three outliers, Fargo, Mankato, and Duluth, and then you'll have access to everything. So that was one of our goals for last year. Any questions about any of that?
I got a question. I'm just wondering how many people decided to have Flex MLS, or what is the other one, Paragon? Do you have any numbers on the number of people that actually utilize those?
I do. It's fewer than 100 that have switched. I can't remember the breakout right now of Flex and Paragon. It's significantly more Flex. So I'm going to guess it's something like 80-20. 80 people chose Flex, 20 chose Paragon. But there is an entire association that's using Flex MLS, and that is Northwest, which is coming on board, is using Flex MLS as the front end, but using Ad Edit to enter their listings. And there is one using Paragon. Now I forget which one it is, but it's another small. There are now 12 associations using North Star MLS. And so there's another small MLS using Paragon. So we didn't ever think that there would be a huge number of people changing front end systems, but we thought people would join us because they could continue to use the system they're used to using, which is what our goal was. But it's fewer than 100 out of 22,000 people that have switched. Great. Any other questions? Anything? I'm excited with a new CEO. I think new things could happen, and that's why I encourage you to encourage your staffs to take the survey, because I think it'll never have a more opportune moment to have a great impact. So that would be great.
Mike, I'm not seeing any additional questions here at the SPAR office, and
Awesome.
I don't see any more in chat. We appreciate all of the information that you've shared with us today. Thank you so much for being
Absolutely,
with us.
anytime. Okay, thank you.
And I
Great,
hope
thanks,
everybody has a great day.